Welcome everybody. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about a movie that I am really excited to talk to you guys about, and that's District 9. So District 9 is a movie that's directed by Neil Blomkamp. Neil Blomkamp directed the Elysium movie that I talked about a little while ago on my channel, and this was his first directorial debut. He was scheduled to direct the Halo movie, which I was a little bit disappointed about when I was in high school to find out that it had been canned and canceled, apparently due to budgetary reasons, and Neil Blomkamp was like, you know what, I really want to do a movie, so why don't we do District 9? And this is the movie that came out of that whole spiel, and I'm really happy about this film because I think that some of the elements from the canceled Halo project did make its way into District 9, such as Vickis Vandemare, who's this guy that works for a government agency called MNU when the aliens kind of make their landfall in South Africa, Johannesburg, South Africa to be exact. Nobody really knows why they chose that place, but you later find out that it's because, you know, they just happened to land there. They didn't really have any specific reason for to be there, and these aliens are located in sort of this ghetto type place where, you know, they're living in these shanty towns and they're really unkempt, and you see like a whole bunch of nasty stuff that goes down in these kind of camps, and this deals a lot with sort of the political landscape that's kind of going on in South Africa right now. Eventually the government agents kind of go in to relocate the alien creatures who resemble sort of like insect creatures, but this movie has a lot of cool weapons, a lot of cool, you know, gadgets and stuff with the alien design. One of which is this thing called the gravity gun, which can, you know, pick up things like cows and objects and stuff and shoot it back at its enemies. It's got things like an exoskeleton suit, which Vickis ends up using towards the end of the movie. The government agencies that go into this thing, Vickis kind of accidentally stumbles upon sort of an alien device, which he sprays some of the alien goop, and it basically starts transforming him little by little. You start to see him in the offices where he works start to lose his fingernails, which is kind of a gross thing to see. And then he starts fully changing into an alien hand, which he goes to a doctor for to kind of figure out what's going on and what's wrong with him. And then later on, you kind of figure out that, you know, there's a lot more going on to this and that he's actually turning into one of these alien creatures. The government, or MNU, kind of captures Vickis and kind of frames him that he's, you know, been trying to mate with these alien creatures, and then, you know, uses that against his family so that his wife leaves him and stuff, and he tries to eventually, you know, communicate with her once he finally leaves the MNU facility. When he's in the MNU facility, they start testing on him with alien weapons, and you later find out that they want to use his body for, like, you know, bioengineering and stuff, and using his, you know, body parts to kind of help with genetic engineering. And that's a scary thought. Like, who would want to have that happen to them if that were to happen in real life? Probably nobody. And so Vickis escapes the facility using some of the alien weapons and stuff, and then makes his way back to the shanty town, and he meets this alien creature named Christopher, who he's been kind of a dick to in terms of how he treats this alien creature and evacuating him from his home. The alien creature doesn't want to leave, basically saying that he's fine living there, that the living conditions are right, even though for a human these wouldn't be okay living conditions. And so he agrees to help Vickis out because he kind of feels bad for Vickis, and promises that if he gets more of the alien fluid, that eventually he would come back when he leaves the planet and fix Vickis. We later learn through the course of this event that it'll take a really long time for them to get back to the planet and be able to fix Vickis, and by then he'll already have been turned into an alien creature. This kind of pisses him off because he wants to have it happen like right now. That just isn't possible with this technology. Vickis mans sort of a exoskeleton suit after he's captured by these tribal leaders who think that by cutting off Vickis' arm and eating it, that somehow it'll give him magical powers. This is a side plot that's going on throughout most of the movie, which doesn't really make that much sense. You'd think that these people are just batshit crazy, but that's not actually the case. So these group of thugs are beating the crap out of Charlton Copley's character, and eventually the exoskeleton suit activates, triggering the electromagnetic pulse gun that it has on his arm, and just literally obliterates everybody in the room, which is pretty sweet to see. Vickis pilots the thing and starts going on a rampage within the sort of compound that they're stuck in. Meanwhile, the military is after him, the MNU special ops agents. They get the better of Vickis, who attempts to flee with one of the downed alien vessels, which kind of launched a bit earlier on in the film, and that leads to this entire chase sequence with this exoskeleton suit and one of the special ops agents that's kind of hunting him down. This guy is also kind of a dick and kind of treating Vickis kind of poorly throughout most of the movies, kind of picking on him and making fun of him just because he thinks he's badass and has, you know, military gear and kind of a crew. That leads to the final act of the film, where Christopher and his little kid manage to make it onto the ship, the little downed ship, and then it sends them to the mothership, which eventually leaves finally with that liquid fluid. You see Sharlto Copley's character looking up with promise that maybe Christopher will end up coming back and helping him later on throughout later sequels of the film, which we never really got. I know there's talks to make a District 10, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I don't think this movie gets a lot of credit for what it's doing. I think this movie talks a little bit about the political nature of what's going on in South Africa while also being a really fun science fiction film. You know, there's a lot of cool action sequences. There's a lot of cool science fiction weapons. This movie is something for, I think, everybody. There's even a little bit of a love story in there between Vickis and his wife for him trying to get back to her. And, you know, eventually you figure out that even though he's turned into this alien creature, he kind of escapes the compound sometimes, kind of show that, you know, he's still around. And this plays out a little bit like a documentary. At first switches from the documentary format to, you know, a regular theatrical film, and I kind of like that because it makes it feel a little bit more realistic, and you kind of get to know some of the alien creatures along the way of what they're dealing with and what kind of goes on in their daily lives. And so I really like the design. I think the motion capture suits that they used for this film in terms of Weta and what they did with that is really well done. Might not have gotten a Halo movie, but this is as close to, you know, Halo as we're probably going to get. And I think that Neil Blomkamp definitely deserves future projects. I don't think it's fair that just because of Chappie that his name was kind of dragged through the mud and everything. There is still some cool things about Chappie that I really liked, even though it kind of felt like a District 9 all over again, you know, with Hugh Jackman as the military guy kind of hunting down Chappie and stuff. But, you know, that's besides the point. That's for another review. But I think District 9, with its political messages and stuff, I think it does it in a brilliant way where it doesn't ham-fist you with the political messages, but it definitely does address some of that stuff within the film. And I think if you watch this movie to this day, you might find something that you might enjoy that you didn't really pick up on, you know, back when it first came out. I think everybody's just thinking, you know, this is a cool science fiction film, but there's a lot of heart and message to this underneath. So I would give District 9 an A. I think this deserves it. I think it's a well-crafted movie. I think for Neil Blomkamp's first film, this was definitely something that not many people expected, and I don't think many people expect in future movies from him. But I really liked this film. I also really liked Elysium, which not many people liked, but I'm a science fiction guy, so I'm a little bit biased in terms of my science fiction films. But this movie has a little bit of, you know, mixture of different science fiction films as well as video games kind of mixed into it, and that's something that I really enjoy. So that is why I'm giving District 9 that rating. So I hope you guys enjoy this movie review, and as always, guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.